Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by CacheFly. CacheFly.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Networks on Saturday, January 11th, 2014. This is episode 1047. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Gazelle, the fast and simple way to sell your used gadgets. Find out what your used iPhone, iPad, or other Apple product is worth at Gazelle.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy, and it's time to talk tech. Computers, the internet, home theater, smartphones, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is the number. You know what I didn't do this week, which everybody did do, is go to Vegas. I actually did go to Vegas. I went to Vegas on Monday, but I didn't go to Vegas for the Consumer Electronics Show. Skipped that. And instead, watched from afar.
You just went to Vegas for a mani-pedi?
Yeah.
Little massage?
No, I actually went for the New Media Expo, the big podcast trade show. And then I got out of there as quick as I could. People had already started arriving for CS, so maybe I'll make some observations about the Consumer Electronics Show. Every year, it's 180,000 geeks gather, more than 2,000 booths. Oh, what do they say? 2 million square feet of display space. It's an amazing thing that is both uncoverable from a point of view of a journalist and overcovered in the sense that everybody in technology goes there. So here's the good news. You didn't miss anything. In fact, as far as I could tell, International CES is the hostess Twinkies of technology. It looks good. It probably tastes good going down. But the next day you go, what? What happened?
Oh, I thought you felt like crap the next day.
Well, you might, and that's true for anybody who goes. But, I mean, I don't think there was anything. Maybe I'm wrong, and perhaps those of you who are listening who watched, we did our own coverage, certainly. I had 3 reporters down there and a field crew and so forth. But those of you who watched our coverage or anybody else's coverage, is there anything that really stays with you? Wow, I've learned something here today. I'm trying to think, televisions, and Scott Wilkinson will join us in about 20 minutes to talk about his experiences down there. It's where all the big TV manufacturers show off stuff. I think there's one thing that we started to see last year, and we'll certainly see more of, is the Chinese manufacturers, particularly TCL and Hisense, really kind of turning up the juice, turning up the power. Hisense took over Microsoft's booth last year, and they showed for the first time a TV set with Roku built in. Now, okay, yeah, this is a good example. That's interesting. Is it earth-shattering? I don't know. Oh, I don't know. 4K is the next thing. Ultra HD, they call it. And good news, one of the things that Scott and I have been talking about 4K for 4 years, one of the things that is starting to happen is content is arriving for 4K. In particular, Sony and Netflix both said, yeah, we'll be streaming 4K. They neglect to mention that very few people will actually be able to see it unless you have unusually capacious bandwidth with surprisingly high bandwidth caps. Don't expect to be streaming 4K every night. I thought much more interesting was the kind of sneaky announcement in Australia. A Sony rep talking to an Australian newspaper let out that they could do a new 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, make an 8-layer Blu-ray that could have enough on it, enough data, 100 some gigabytes, that we could actually buy a Blu-ray disc with that kind of resolution. So good. Should you run out and buy a UHD TV? I'd wait. I mean, it's not that they're or too expensive. They're not. In fact, they're kind of surprisingly inexpensive, which worries me. It means that they've skimped elsewhere. So I'd wait a little bit till it settles down. I've been begging, man. 8 years ago, I started seeing 4K displays, and begging manufacturers to just skip the 3D era, go straight to 4K, and they seem to have done that. Actually, 3D kind of powered 4K because for many displays, in order to do high-def 3D, they had to have displays that were capable of twice the bandwidth, twice the resolution, because they had to display two different 2K images at the same time. One for your left eye, one for your right eye. So these were, a lot of the 3D displays are in fact 4K displays. So I think that sped things along. By the way, you'll note I'm using UHD and 4K interchangeably. They're not technically, but close enough for government work. What else? Curved TVs. Now, see, Hostess Twinkie, because I have a curved TV. I wish I didn't. You can't hang it on the wall. It makes it hard to sit at the side. You have to sit right in the middle. They're made for one person. Dumb idea. The only reason they do it because they can, and because then you look at it and you go, oh, that TV's curved. That must be something new. Yeah. And then there were a lot of, Bluetooth speakers, wireless speakers. A lot of, as always, solutions looking for problems. An iPhone case that has additional memory in it. So don't feel bad. You didn't miss anything. You didn't miss anything. And I'll give you kind of a lowdown of some of the interesting stuff. Let's see, what else? What else happened? Oh, this week I got the new Mac Pro, finally arrived. A lot of people waiting till next month. If you didn't order it in the first few hours, you didn't get it, or you won't get it for another month or two. But fortunately, one of our listeners, Ed Ingber, down in the South Bay in southern San Francisco Bay Area, had ordered one at 1 a.m. and had buyer's remorse. Said, you know what? I don't want this. It's $3,000. I'm going to get an iMac instead. And said, so he sent me an email. Said, you want to take this off my hands? I said, yeah. So I've been playing with it for the last few days. I got it on Tuesday or Wednesday, I guess, and it's very nice. Boy, it's fat. It's kind of, it's fun to see what a company, especially a company with a design bias like Apple, can do if all the restrictions are removed. Don't worry about how much it's going to cost to make, how much it'll cost to sell. Just use the coolest, latest, most powerful stuff you can find. Manufacture it in a unique way it's an extruded aluminum tube, but not very big. It's kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. A small shoebox turned on an end, but it's round. It's beautiful. It's shiny. You get inside it by flipping a switch and then lifting the outside tube off. It's dead silent. One big fan moves a lot of air through the core from the bottom up through the top. Dead silent, even though you've got, I got the base model, 4 CPU, 3.7 gigahertz Xeon E5, which is about the most powerful chip out there. Not ironically a core chip or even any of the more modern Intel chips, but their server chip, not Haswell. It's a Xeon, and very fast hard drives, SSD hard drive, and a very fast memory. And yes, it's a very fast computer. You know what the problem is? Does your computer seem slow if you bought it in the last year or two? Probably not. There isn't a huge demand for much faster, except from some very specialized slices. Enough of that. Let's talk. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. If you want to tell me about something cool you saw at CES or at CES coverage. People in the chat room saying, what about the Oculus Rift best of the year, according to Engadget? Well, first of all, it's a prototype. I have the original Oculus Rift dev kit. It is a headset you put on, and of course, immediately you can see nothing but the screen, which is cool because you have, you can turn your head and the screen moves and you go up and down and so forth. But I don't see this as being something that's going to change the world. Now, they've raised more than $90 million. They have 100 employees. They've sold 50,000 of the developer units. I'm one of the people that has them. It just to me, I think this is an interesting product indeed. This is the kind of thing you see at CES, is interesting products, but don't think they're going to fly off the shelves. I think, the Kinect is cool. I don't know. Heather Hammond, our phone ranger, taking the calls. 8888 Ask Leo, the website, techguylabs.com. Heather. Who should I talk to first? By the way, are those your new Warby Parkers?
They're not.
No. Okay. You decided to go to an actual shop and buy them?
Actually, these are old glasses.
They're old. Did you order some new ones?
The lenses replaced.
Yeah. Ended up doing the smart thing, which is keep what you got.
People are saying they like them. I was like, wait a minute. I like these. There's nothing wrong with these. Why go no?
Why get new
Stick
glasses?
with the old school.
Yeah.
Your friend Ash is phoning with a good question.
Ash?
Who composed the theme
Ashley
song
Witt?
for the show. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Ash, hello. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo.
How are you?
Good. Happy 10th. That's
Thank
incredible.
you. Yeah, can you believe it? 10 years.
No, the odd word.
And did you compose the theme? You did the original theme, right?
Yeah.
So it's 10 years old now.
Yeah.
Did we ever pay you for that?
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, good. You could take that off the accounts. There it is in the background, the accounts payable. Hey, it's nice to talk to you again. How's things going?
Good, except for this issue I'm having. My daughter called me up, and the Obamacare thing. She's trying to sign up for that, and she gets a thing back from them because they don't believe she is who she is. So they want her. Yeah.
She's using the California site?
Yeah. And
so just to point out, the ACA site in California, the exchange in California, is run by the state of California. It's not the federal exchange that has been having so many problems. The federal exchange, I think 30 states ended up using it instead of doing their own. California is not one of them. And, I think the California site's working pretty well. But what do they say? They say they want her to prove that she is who she says she is?
Yeah, they want her to send over the internet, send her birth certificate.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
She can't, just hold up the LA Times with today's date on it or anything?
No.
It is a problem. This is actually one of the big problems that I'm waiting to see how this gets solved. This is the kind of thing you don't do that CES doesn't show, is authentication. How do you say who you are in a way that's reliable? In fact, it is the core issue with so many things like identity theft. The Target now has said 70 million people's stuff was hacked. If you had a good, strong form of authentication, this would be much less of a problem. Payments, and of course, yes, they have to authenticate her. So you're worried that sending the birth certificate over the internet sounds a little.
Yeah, I mean, they want. I guess they want her to send it online, through the website. So
now that's different than emailing it. Emailing it would be inherently insecure. There's no way to send email unless both sides agree to some sort of encryption standard. But when you're on the web, if they're saying upload it to the web.
To their site, yeah.
And it's that's what you could. That is encrypted on both sides, and both sides have agreed on it. So it would be like using strong encryption in your email, and the other side has the key and unlocking, and nobody along the way could see it because the Health Exchange website is secure, HTTPS.
Okay, but still having
Well, you're trusting them, but you know what? They'd have that information anyway, right? Okay. Everybody else does. The hospital, if you do any healthcare provider has your social security number, all the information they need. If you're using a healthcare provider, whether it's private insurance or public, they have that information. That's part of the deal. You have to trust them. I admit, I don't blame you. I mean, we trusted Target too.
Yeah. I'm just not comfortable.
I'm hoping the state of California is more reliable than Target, but I don't know if that's the case. I understand your concern. So Ashley, here's what I would say is, first of all, any insurer is going to have that information. That's part of the deal. They're going to have Social Security and all that stuff. They, as state of California is saying, as insurer, We want that information. They've given you, which is, I think, a good sign, a secure way of transmitting it. That is using, and make sure that it is HTTPS, that is a secure transaction. So she's uploading it through HTTPS to their website. The risk, of course, is that anybody who has that information has to secure it in such a way that a bad guys can't steal it. And we're seeing a lot of that lately.
Yeah, well, I also think, there are people that are highly motivated to hack these these sites.
And we've talked about the security issues involved. But it doesn't matter if you used, anybody. Blue Cross has that information too. And so do you trust the state of California more or less than Blue Cross? I don't know.
Well, I just think that there's people more motivated to hack this particular, the California care than Blue Cross, just because of what's been going on.
Well, and I would hope the California care would be securing it. Now, I think there's a lot of evidence that the federal site is not secure. A number of audits have shown that there are all sorts of security issues with the federal site.
Yeah, and that's what I'm worried about.
Yeah. And, whether the state site is secure, I don't know. It has not suffered the problems that the federal site has.
Right, okay.
Which is but again, Ash, I don't blame you, but this is the world we live in. You give this kind of information to people in many cases. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, the three big credit companies, know this and more about you and your daughter and anybody. And do you trust?
So you don't feel that this is out of the ordinary?
No.
Okay, good.
And what I am encouraged by, if they said email it to us, I would be very discouraged by that, because that would show a complete lack of grasp of security fundamentals. If they are doing it over HTTPS, secure HTTP, that means it's an encrypted transaction between you and the state of California, just as it would be with DMV or anybody else. Do you think DMV doesn't have all that information?
Right. Well,
in fact, that's what they're probably doing, is correlating it with their existing records to make sure she is who she says she is.
Okay, I see.
So they already have all. You're not giving them anything they don't already have. And you're right. I don't blame you, Ash. You're right. But I think you have to if you want to participate in insurance of any kind, or in fact participate in life. What we really need to do is rattle the cages and get these people to make sure their databases are secured. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Actually, Dr. Mom, you're wrong. The state frequently does it. At a DMV, that's one way you get a driver's. In fact, it's the way you get a driver's license, right? So it is not an unusual procedure for a state, as opposed to a business, to ask for a birth certificate. I agree, a birth certificate is not particularly strong, but that's how you get a passport. When you first get your driver's license, you bring in your, because you don't have any other documentation. You understand? So I agree, it's not ideal. My guess is that she does not have other form of ID. But I do know that when we got a passport for Henry, it was with his birth certificate. So I think that's exactly the kind of thing the state asks you for. It certainly is at DMV. It's certainly what the federal government, the post office asks for when you try to get a passport. So it makes perfect sense to me that that's what a state-run health insurance exchange would ask for. It's Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Home theater guru Scott Wilkinson is back from CES. How are you feeling, Scott?
Man, my dogs are barking.
So Scott in the past has always brought a pedometer with him to measure how many steps he took at CES. Did you do that again this year?
I did. I didn't measure my steps are on the pedometer. I don't remember that number, but I did walk almost 24 miles.
How many days?
5 days.
Well, that's not horrible. That's good. That's exercise.
Exactly.
And what did you see on your stroll?
Oh, well, I strolled about here and there, and I saw lots of UHD TVs, or 4K, as you say. They are somewhat mistakenly conflated, but, okay, so we'll use them together.
Close enough.
Close enough for government work, as you said. Yes, exactly right. Tons of them, tons of curved screens.
That really annoys me because, as you and I have, I think, observed, There's no real benefit to a curved screen.
No, not at the smaller sizes. The 55, 65-inch TVs, I see no benefit at all. And
Now,
Samsung,
the 105-inch that Samsung was showing,
yes, and LG,
that makes sense.
it does make sense. Although, interestingly, Toshiba showed a 105-inch 235-to-1 or super wide screen flat. They were showing a flat one.
Hey, IMAX is flat.
Well, that's not entirely true. Well, I guess IMAX is. You're right, but many movie theaters aren't.
No, I know. I've seen Cineramas and others that are curved.
Right.
But if it works for IMAX, come on. Come on.
You know, you said it earlier, and you were exactly right. It promotes a more solitary experience, and the people off to the side have a worse experience, not necessarily because the picture quality looks bad, but because the geometry looks bad, because the screen is curved and it looks like a kind of an inverse smiley face or something. It's kind of weird. Anyway, I got to tell you, though, the most impressive thing I saw at CES was, believe it or not, from Vizio.
Now, Vizio is what they often call a second-tier manufacturer. You've got the Sonys, the Sharps, the LGs, the Samsungs. They're the first tier. And then you go one step down, and Vizio makes an excellent TV, especially for the price.
That's exactly correct. And you know, they've been number one in, I don't know, unit sales or dollar sales, I forget what, for a while now in some categories. I sort of call them a 1.5 tier. I mean, they're really approaching first tier.
They really are. I mean, I don't, you know, TCL and Hisense, the Chinese companies, as I mentioned earlier, are coming up fast. I don't know if tiers do tiers make any sense anymore? I don't know.
Well, they may not.
So what did you see from Vizio that you liked?
So Vizio showed a new series of TVs called the Reference Series. They call it the Reference Series, and it's ultra high def UHD. But what's really important about it is that it implements a Dolby technology called Dolby Vision, which expands the dynamic range, that is the difference between the blackest black and the whitest white, by a factor of 2 or 3, expands the color gamut out beyond what the range of colors we see in high-def TVs today. And most importantly, they were showing it with content from Universal and Paramount. They were showing clips from Oblivion and Star Trek Into Darkness that had been graded, that is, mastered for this expanded dynamic range and color gamut. And they put it right next to a quote-unquote conventional ultra-high-definition TV from Samsung, I believe. And the content for that TV had been graded properly for that TV. So this was a look at the future of content and content delivery on the new HD TVs. I've said for a long time that UHD TVs need to be about more than just resolution, pixel resolution. Yeah, they got 4 times the number of pixels as regular HD, but that doesn't mean anything if you sit at a normal distance from a normal-sized TV. You won't see the difference, but you will see the difference if you have enhanced dynamic range and wider color gamut. You'll see that immediately. And in the demo, which they had these side-by-side, it was astonishing, the difference. It was incredible.
I hate to be a wet blanket here, but we should point out this is the Reference Series from Vizio, and it's really, I think it's their bid to be considered into the first tier. But there's only 2 sizes, 65 inches and 120 inches. It's kind of like their Mac Pro. It's them saying, hey, if cost were no object, if we wanted to build the best TV we could, what would we do?
Right.
Did they mention prices at all?
In the Reference Series, they did not. But they are expected to ship in the second half of the year. Their step-down UHD, the P series, oh gosh, I didn't bring up that file to find out.
This is also full LED backlight. It's not edge lit, but they have
correct, very
with local
important.
dimming and all of that.
Yeah, which really improves the picture quality as well.
Will that technology migrate down into the other Vizios?
Yes. As a matter of fact, that was another really important announcement by Vizio. All of their TVs, all of them, from the very least expensive all the way up to the Reference Series, are going to be full array backlit, not edge lit, with local dimming.
And you've always said that's good. In fact, the original LED backlit LCDs mostly had that, and they eliminated that in a lot of them.
Correct.
I guess
it was
hard to
expensive.
make. Yeah.
It was more expensive to make, and you couldn't make the TV quite as thin. And everybody wanted these super thin TVs.
Is anybody else using Dolby Vision? This is that technology that they're using.
Right. Nobody else announced it at the show that I recall. I have to go back and look at my notes, but I don't think so. Vizio was the only one who announced it and said, this is going to be in our TVs. And this is the first time that I'm really getting excited about Ultra HD.
Good. Looks good, in other words. Hey,
yeah,
one thing, though, you kind of buried the lead.
What's that?
They're killing all support for 3D TVs.
Yeah, I didn't bury that lead, but that is another lead. Exactly right. They have no 3D TVs this year.
No. Wait a minute. You could I thought 3D, you just threw it in for free.
Yeah, well, they have decided not.
Nobody wants it.
Now, I will tell you this. They are talking with the two glasses free.
Oh, yeah, that's the other question, because you were very excited about this.
I was. Yep, and I still am.
Okay.
There are two companies that are making glasses-free 3D technology and licensing it to manufacturers. One is Dolby, and the other is a company called Stream TV Networks. And I saw very long examples of both of them, and the Stream TV Networks one blows Dolby away.
Okay. And you can move around, your head can bob and weave, and it still looks 3D?
Absolutely. I interviewed them on Home Theater Geeks, which should have been posted by now.
Oh, good.
Will be soon.
Oh, good.
They were among the many interviews I did for the podcast, and Walter Hurling, the CEO and head tech guy at Stream TV, sort of explained a little bit about how it works. I asked him specifically for you. I said, hey, is it laser tracking your eyes? What's going on there? No, it's a kind of a complicated physics principle called a light field. But it really does work. All I can tell you is I moved around the TV, up and down, all around. It just looked solid and continued to look 3D. It's astonishing.
Light field we've seen before is in the Litro cameras, I think. So this is an interesting.
That may very well be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Interesting technology. Those are the cameras that can take one picture in multiple focal lengths.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. Exactly.
Interesting.
So glasses free 3D from Stream TV Networks is going to be a big thing.
All right, Scott Wilkinson, rest, recuperate. Come back next week. Our home theater guy, avsforum.com, and check out his podcast, twit.tv/HTG. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Michael Faraday was the first to propose that light should be interpreted as a field. In 1846. Yeah, this is interesting. That actually makes sense. It does sound like that's a way to do it.
Absolutely.
Boy, I don't know from the practical point of view.
Well, I know they've got.
Were they curved? Were they curved screens or were they flat?
They were flat. The ones that were showing in the Stream TV Network booth. I know they've got all the Chinese companies signed up, Hisense and TCL.
Well, maybe that's why Vizio's not doing 3D. Maybe they're waiting to see.
They might very well. I can't remember whether Vizio said they were going with Dolby 3D or Stream TV, but they are looking seriously at it. So it's not that Vizio has said 3D is dead, we're never going to do 3D again. They just didn't put it in their 2014 models. They didn't want to deal with glasses or anything like that. Now, the other cool thing, though, about UHD is that you can do passive 3D glasses and still see 1080p in each eye, which is pretty cool. I saw a demo of that in the Sensio suite at the Hilton, well, the LVH, where they were showing passive 3D glasses on a 4K display, and that looked a lot better than on the one right next to it, which was a 1080p passive glasses display. So, there is some life left there, and Sensio was also talking about streaming 3D from 3D Go, and a bunch of people, most of the TV companies were talking about streaming we didn't get to talk about this on the show, streaming UHD in the range of around 15 megabits per second, which isn't completely outrageous. Now, it will fill up your cap before too long.
No kidding.
But, yeah. But and sustained 15 megabits per second for a 2-hour movie, that may be a little off.
Nobody, well, I don't know. I don't think anybody could do that, really, but maybe.
Maybe.
Google probably can.
It's not that far away. It's not that far away. And I came away from the show also more convinced than ever. I didn't hear anything about a physical disc format for UHD. Blu-ray Disc Association was not here.
Really?
So
yeah, nope. I think physical media is dead. Although Sony gave an interview in Australia in which he said we can do 8-layer Blu-ray media and do.
Yeah, I heard you say that earlier in the show, and I hadn't heard that, so I'm going to have to go look that up.
It wasn't at CES.
No, it wasn't.
So what do you think? Worth going?
What, to CES?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was, well, I mean, just the Vizio reference series alone was certainly worth it. And, you know, I mean, obviously I cover the industry, so it was important for me to be here, but I thought it was definitely worth it. Tons of great stuff. I didn't even get over to the Venetian where all the audio stuff is. My colleague Mark Henninger went over there, and he's covering all that stuff for me. So I was glad to have a helper, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen, I got to run. I got to catch a flight.
Thank you. Take care, Scott.
I'm still in Vegas.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you did it. Phone's perfect.
Great.
Excellent. Thanks, Scott.
We'll talk to you next week.
All righty. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 88 Ask Leo. That's the number. 888-827-5536. Well, let's see. Let's go back to the phones. What do you say? Mary on the line from Sherman, Texas. Hi, Mary. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking the call, and congratulations on your anniversary.
10 years. Thank you.
Well, I had a question, so I thought I'll call Leo.
But of course, that's what I'm here for.
I'm retired, and I have a lot of photographic negatives that I want to convert to digital.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd like to do it myself. And I'm just wondering what kind of converter you would recommend.
I generally say don't do it yourself because it's so much work, and people like Scan Cafe and others, you send them the negatives and they'll do the conversion. The scanners, you know, Nikon and many people make negative scanners. Epson has the, I think it's called the Perfection series of scanners that have, the reason it's a specialized scanner is because if you think about a regular scanner, it's like a Xerox machine. It bounces light against a piece of paper that takes a picture. So the source of the light and the camera are on the same side, right? But a negative, you have to shine light through it. So you need a scanner with light in the hood and a camera beneath the glass. And they make them. As I said, Epson has a Perfection series. It has a nice little negative holder. Now, you'll need special software to convert the negative to a positive, but that's not a big deal. That could be done programmatically. The issue is it's about I think 4 negatives at a time. So how many do you have?
I have a lot, but did I mention I was retired?
You got time?
So, and I don't want to do every one. I went, that one looks kind of cool. Let's see what it is.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. No, you could totally do it. In fact, I've done it. My mom sent me negatives of her slides of her artwork because the artwork had been sold. It was the only copy she had. And you scan it and you can digitize it. And you could do it at a high resolution. And because you could take, your time, you can do it right. But it is time consuming.
Right. I expect that.
Yeah. In fact, it's not probably a big money saver because good negative scanners, going to cost you several $100s. So
I started saving my pennies, so I.
It's a great project. Excuse me. I think it's a wonderful project. I would, if it depends on the price sensitivity. Nikon makes the best slide scanners and negative.
I don't really have slides as much as negatives.
It's the same. It's kind of the same thing.
Okay.
They're the most expensive. They're the fancy ones. And then the Epson Perfection scanners, some of them will scan slides and negatives. So, and the price range is quite a bit, in the hundreds, not thousands.
Right.
So I'm very happy with the Perfection series from Epson. I should mention Epson's a sponsor, but that's not why I recommend them. And they have, I'm just going to look at some model numbers. Yeah, the V500 photo scanner is $150. I mean, they're not expensive. You got to get one, though, that does slides and or negatives.
Okay.
And then it'll come with some software. Ideally, you'd have Photoshop or a similar image editing program to reverse the negative. And you can also then clean it up, with dust and stuff. So
I don't have Photoshop. I'm on Apple, because of you.
Okay.
And
Photoshop's available on Apple, of course, but Photoshop Elements for Macintosh, $79 is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat room is saying the Wolverine scanner. I haven't played with that, but Truckee says he likes that. There are a number of choices. I think a good scanner is the best way to do this.
Okay.
And one of the things the service bureaus will do, and you'll want to do, is have a little compressed air and a nice, fine, soft brush. You can clean off the negative and so forth.
Because some of them are very dusty.
Of course they are.
But a lot of them are in protective cases. So
great.
Good. Yeah.
And why negatives? These are pictures you took years ago, and
yeah.
We had go ahead.
A lot of countries.
Oh, wonderful! Yeah, you definitely want to get those.
And I'm liking to make cards now, and so it kind of.
Oh, it's a great project. You hold the negative up, you look at it, you go, yeah, I think I'll take that one. You put it in a little thing. You go, zzz, and while you're doing that, you look at the next one, zzz, and you wait a little bit. You have a cup of tea. Zzz,
I also make quilts.
Perfect. You got lots.
I'm doing it. Yeah.
You know what? I would have said, "Oh, go buy a quilt. Don't make one. What are you, crazy?" So there you go. It's the same thing. If you enjoy the process and you want full control of it, and it probably will be a little cheaper depending on what kind of scanner. See, remember the companies that do this en masse are using big, nice professional scanners because they can afford them. And they're faster.
I'm not sure I could find all my negatives.
Right.
I'm still finding them.
We did this, my family only took slides for some reason. So we had thousands of slides. So my sister went through them, found somebody. Now, we didn't do it by hand. We have found somebody. But you'll be so glad when you have that disc. And you can give them to the kids. You can upload them. You can save them. You can preserve them. It's great.
Yeah.
And make nice cards.
Yes.
All right, Mary.
Quilts.
Yeah. Look at the Epson line. I think that's a good way to go.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Suzanne, Vista, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. My name is Susan, and I received a phone call about a week ago, and I was sick and tired and hadn't eaten dinner, and I got conned.
You fell for... Oh, Susan, hold on a second. I want to help you, and we can, I think. And I want the world to hear what happened to you because I want to prevent it from happening to anybody else. So hang on the line. Oh, Susan, yeah, I know. This is the best time for the con guy to get you because the holidays, everybody's a little fried and frayed. So what did he say to you?
Well, and also I want to interject that I was one of the 100 million people that had shopped at Target online. So
Lordy.
After the fact, I almost wondered, did they have all my information from something like that? They called and started to tell me in heavy accents, and I couldn't exactly tell what type of accents, but I talked to two different people, and the one person said that they're calling from Microsoft, and I laughed. I said, yeah, they said my computer was going to crash within 1 to 3 days, that I needed to make some type of decision this week before that happened.
See, that's, by the way, all good, this is called social engineering. All good social engineering attacks will have some urgency, won't they? It's sales, frankly. We got to close you. So you got 1 to 3 days. By the end of the week, you have to make a decision. Put the pressure on you now so that you don't say, yeah, let me think about it. They don't want you to think about it.
Well, and the scary part is I have a background in security and finance, and it scares me that I did anything this stupid. I was in shock for about a week that where was my brain?
Susan.
I was very sick. I have been.
Yeah, you were vulnerable, and they got you. And these, often the guys who do this are, in fact, real support personnel. They work in call centers, and in the downtime at the call center, they make these illegal hacking calls, but they sound so good because they, in fact, are support people.
Well, that's what I wondered, because I started to think, I actually ended up with getting some things done to my computer for a pretty cheap price, and maybe it was legitimate. So it took
No, it wasn't legitimate.
Aha. So,
so here's how this works. They scare you. Oh, we got to take a break, but can you hang on for a few more minutes?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
we got a break for the news at the top of the hour. We're going to come right back. I want to tell you how it works, what they did, what you can do about it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Somebody's been calling me at 6:30 in the morning every day from Florida, and they don't leave a message from a toll-free number in Florida. I think, maybe not toll-free, I guess it's not, because I wouldn't know it's from Florida. But I think it's something like this, because these guys don't, you're right, they don't leave messages. Thank you. More cowbell! Our show today brought to you just in time for CES and the onslaught of new gadgets by Gazelle.com. Gazelle's the place you go to sell your old stuff so you can get some new stuff. Everybody who listens to this show, I guarantee you, has a drawer or a closet or a box or somewhere where you just pile the old doodads, gimcracks, geejaws, gadgets. You know, many of them are worth good money. You're wasting money. In fact, I can tell you one thing. They're not gaining any value sitting in that drawer gathering dust. Go to Gazelle.com, and you can get a free quote. They're good for 30 days. Now, they don't do everything. They used to do everything, and it just made it complicated. Now they've really simplified it. Any kind of iPhone, iPad, or iPod, a variety of other cell phones, BlackBerries, yes, they'll buy them. HTC, LG, Motorola, Nokia, and Samsung. Yes, they'll buy them. Tablets, too, a broad range. Not just the iPad, but the Kindles from Amazon, Asus, Google's Nexus tablets, Microsoft's Surfaces, Samsung Galaxy tabs. They'll also buy MacBooks, and they'll buy Macs. Here's a common example. You got an iPhone 5, and you want to get the new 5S. Let's say it's an AT&T 32-gig iPhone 5. Now they show you this is kind of clever. $205 if it's locked to AT&T. You can get AT&T to unlock it for you for free, and that adds $50 to the value. But you have to do it. They can't do it. So here's the deal. You get the quote. Okay, I'll take it. And then you go back and you go through the rest of your stuff just for grins. You have an old, I don't know what, BlackBerry. Maybe you bought a Q10 and you thought, this is a good idea. Now, $135, throw it in the box. Now, you have 30 days to take advantage of this. So you get the quotes, lock those in. They're guaranteed at that price. They're locked in. When you decide, okay, it's time, pull the trigger, they will send you a box, prepaid shipping. You tumble all that stuff into the box. You send it back to them. I love this. Their data experts will go through it, and they'll check to see what quality condition's in. And by the way, they will upgrade it if the condition is better than you said. So that's nice. They also will wipe your data if you forgot to. And I know, of course, I still recommend you do it before you set it, but I know a lot of people forget. It's not unusual. Get your offer, get the box, get the cash. They'll send you a check. They'll send you a PayPal credit. And if you want, you can even get the Amazon gift card. I think that's a good idea if you buy a lot of stuff on Amazon because they bump it up 5% in value. I like Gazelle. I know you will too. Find out why so many people, 700,000 customers, have been paid more than $100 million to date by Gazelle. Shipping is free, processing is free, and the risk, there is none. You know what you're going to get before you send it in. Gazelle.com. We've got Susan online in Vista, California. Susan knows tech security. She works as a security analyst at a bank and so forth, but somehow, and it happens, and I got to say there's no shame in it, she got bit. Guy calls, sounds like tech support, says he's from Microsoft, and she has 1 to 3 days to fix a problem on her computer. If she doesn't decide soon, what did they say? The computer would stop working?
They said it would crash, and I laughed at them. I said, as if Microsoft could care if my computer crashed.
You even know they don't care.
Well, yeah. So I argued with them for over an hour.
What?
Yeah, here's what happened is they came up with, they said, do not tell us any secured information. We will not ask you any questions. This is how they roped me in. Maybe this is no big deal, but I didn't understand. How did they know everything about my computer?
Well, what did they know?
They knew the CLS number, and they knew the number of adware, malware, whatever was, I could look at the list of whatever was in my computer, and it matched up to the number that was in there. How did they know these things?
I don't know. So,
does it mean they had already hacked in before?
No, I don't think so. I think they... So here's one of the things that they do. First of all, I have no idea what a CLS number is. That sounds made up.
Oh. I looked it up in the computer. They told me where to find it before I let them into my computer remotely, and it matched exactly.
The CLS ID is not unique.
Oh, okay.
So, in fact, look, here's a web page. It says, "We Live Security, Support Desk Scams. CLS ID is not unique." So when they call you up and they say, "Is your CLS ID?" They actually go into the register. "Does it equal this?" And you say, "Yes." How could you possibly know that unless you really were Microsoft? The next thing the next thing they do is they get you to run the event viewer. Now, this is a very scary thing because the event viewer logs all errors. And what's interesting is that there are many, many errors going on all the time. And they're shown in red with exclamation marks. And so what they say is, let's look at your event viewer log. Is that what he did?
Yes.
Yeah. and he says, "You see all those red things?"
And I thought in the back of my mind, I don't go into that part of the computer, but I thought, well, those are anytime you go into a website or, I figured
yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. It's completely normal.
But yet my brain knew better, but I was so slow to react that I allowed it to happen. I'm still shocked how I know better.
Yeah. In fact, I'll put a link in this in the show notes to this article from it's from ESET, the ESET folks, about how they could possibly know the CLS ID. Well, because it's not unique.
Got it.
And
I thought they had access.
Yeah. Well, it's clever. So this is social engineering. They hacked you. Now the next thing they say is, okay, but don't worry. Hey, we're here to help. We're from Microsoft, and we can.
And they did say that.
We can fix it. All you have to do is allow us access to your computer. Uh-oh.
And yes, they did.
Uh-oh. Now we don't know what they did, and this is the problem. They could have done a number of things. They could have, in fact, the simplest version of the scam could be simply that they want you to give them some money, and they will, in fact, fix stuff, and then they leave. And you're no worse off, except for, how much money did you give them?
$139.90.
Right. So maybe they were satisfied with that. That's a lot of money. I'd take it. But maybe not, and that's the problem, is we don't know what else he did. First of all, now he has a credit card number.
I canceled it.
Good. You had the feeling, didn't you, that something went wrong here?
But it took me a week to admit my stupidity because I couldn't face up that I did it.
I don't blame you. We've all come close or have actually, I haven't yet fallen for this, but I've come close to falling for other tricks. These guys are good. The real fear at this point is that while he had access to your computer, he put malware on it.
Okay.
And we don't know. We can't be sure. And that's the problem. So there's no really effective way to clean this up except to format the drive and start over. I'm hoping that you have your boot disks or your install disks, the recovery disks that came with the computer. You want to install from an optical disk that can't be modified. You reinstall, back up your data first. Your data is probably okay. It will most likely, if you put malware on there, it'll be some sort of a routine, some process that runs when you boot up the computer. It won't be in a document. So
so I bought Carbonite years ago, 6 years ago, when you sold it.
You keep it up to date?
Doesn't Carbonite do that?
Yeah, so it's been black. It's been sometimes people buy it and they go, "I bought it." You've been paying every year. You've been up, paying the subscription and everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good, great. Your data's safe.
Now, does it include like I'm not good with computer vernacular, but does it include the hard files on the hard drive?
It does not include applications, and it does not include the operating system. That you have to, all that you have to reinstall. What it is, it's your documents. It's the stuff you made. It's your pictures. It's stuff like that.
Okay, and now my hard drive, my external hard drive backup, I knew I was waiting too long. It was overflowed and not functioning properly for the past 3 years, and I kept putting it off.
That's okay. Wipe it off and do it now. It's good to have 2 copies anyway. So
how do I do
don't
that?
erase your drive until you have a local copy and a carbonite copy of everything. That way you're safe.
Okay.
So you just erase that disk, whatever backup system you were using before, if it was manual or if it was automatic, whatever, just run it.
Okay.
And then it won't fill up the disk because it'll be just what you got today. Or you could run out to the store for $80 and buy another external drive that's empty. Might even be a good idea because that overflowing drive might have stuff on it from years ago that you still want. You know what I'm saying?
I still want it?
Well, you might.
It was from business, so...
Yeah, I'd keep it around. I try not to delete data because storage is cheap. So go out and get an external drive.
Do you have one to recommend or a few?
They're all fine. Go to the big box store, get a Western Digital. Get one that's a little bit bigger, but doesn't have to be much bigger than your current drive.
Okay.
Back up your data to that. Now you have a local copy. You have the carbonite copy. You should feel safe about your data. Then, if you got to find those system recovery disks, rerun that. You'll also have to reinstall any applications. You want to make sure you run Windows Update until it's done, because it's very important to get all the updates on there. Then you can restore your data. And then and only then will you know that if they put anything on there, and I would say the likelihood is high that it's gone. You have to wipe it. You have to. Because there's just no way to know what they did. And, once you give somebody you don't know access to your computer, whether it's physical or by remote access, all bets are off. For future reference, good idea for everybody listening. It's not an easy thing to do, but go out, get an external drive, and make a duplicate of your internal drive. And keep it up to date. Make a system image. There are lots of programs that will do this. Drive Snapshot, Disk Imager, Carbon Copy, Cloner on the Mac. Make a copy of that. Make a backup of that and keep it. I'm sorry that this happened to you, Susan. And it could happen to anyone. You're out $139. It was an expensive lesson. Now's the time to wipe your data. And because they've had access to everything for a week, I would perhaps change passwords on your email and things like that, just to make sure that they don't have continued access to your email, any other accounts you might have used. It's kind of a pain, isn't it? Kind of a pain. If you're still using Windows XP, this might be a chance to move to a more modern operating system, because come April, Microsoft's not going to support it anymore. No more updates. That means you'll be very vulnerable. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yes, she should challenge the charge. You're right. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Pieces of my childhood flashing before my eyes. 8888, ask Leo. That's the phone number. Bob's in Riverside, California. Our next call. Hey, Bob, Leo Laporte here.
Hi, Leo. I've got a 2006 iMac, and it was running the original OS, which was 10.4. Well, not me. I'm helping a friend. I'm kind of the computer geek friend. Mm-hmm. And we were going to update him to 10.6, and I went ahead and copied the files to an external drive. We put in the 10.6 disk. We did what looked like was a clean install, and it said format on it. And then when I went to check the files later after we updated to 10.6, it didn't seem to have the updated files. They were probably the newest file was 3 years old. And I just dragged them originally to copy them across. My question is, can I revert back to 10.4 and then find my data?
Yeah, it doesn't touch the data.
Okay.
You know that we're at 10.9 now. 10.6 is not.
Oh, I know, but I don't. Yeah,
it won't go to 10.9. I don't think.
Exactly. Yeah, it won't handle that.
Yeah. So is it a G5 or is it Intel?
It's an Intel chip.
Okay, well that's a good sign.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it doesn't touch your data. You can. That's the nice thing about Apple's operating system installs is that they can be done in place, and unless you explicitly erase the drive, all your data is still there.
Oh, I'm sweating here thinking I'm trying to help my friend out. I'm more of a Windows guy.
Yeah, Windows, it's not unusual to have a clean install, but in fact, it's fairly unusual on a Macintosh. So I think you're all right, unless you formatted it. Did you format the drive?
I wrote myself some notes that said I went into the disk. I put the
disk utility has there's no word format in it. There's erase and partition. If you did either of those, you're in a different ballpark.
I think I might have because I thought it said something about doing a clean install.
Yeah. If you erased it, then their data's gone.
Okay, so there's no point trying to revert back to it.
You can't really revert if you've erased it. I mean,
okay.
It's like a Windows disk in the sense the data's there probably, but you need a recovery tool to get it.
Well, and I went and bought the one called Data Rescue 2, but it seems like everything talks about deleted files, and technically
it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Okay.
So you can run it on there, and if there are erased files, you should be able to see them.
Okay, so I need to search for the deleted. So I've done the same thing in terms of saying that I've deleted them, even though technically I didn't delete them.
Yeah, I don't think it's a format. I think, but I don't know. I don't think it's. I mean, I don't know what disk utility does, but it's so fast that I don't think it's writing zeros across the whole drive.
Would it be worth probably putting the 10.6 disk back in using the disk utility, or should I use the disk utility off the 10.6 that's currently loaded?
Doesn't matter either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so would I do that and say go back? Or?
No, you need to use the Data Rescue program.
Use the Data Rescue disk at this point.
At this point, you've erased the data, so you're trying to unerase it.
Okay, so whatever that disk does, try it. And
if you don't see anything,
I'm out of luck.
Your friend not going to like you very much.
No, I won't be too happy. I won't be the tech
Always
guru
make
anymore.
a backup before you do this.
Well, we did. I hooked up an external drive, and I dragged all the files across, and they showed up. But when I went back to look at it, it only showed files as current as 2010. I hadn't checked them before I actually did. I think
so you're saying you did do that backup's still intact, right?
I dragged the files across, but then
I don't know about the dates. Don't worry. See if maybe he hasn't done anything for 3 years.
No, he has.
Just ask him what's the most recent thing you worked on and look at it.
He's right here. He worked on things.
Dates, I wouldn't worry about the dates. You might be looking at creation dates, not modification dates, things like that. Don't worry about that. If you made a backup, good. You did the right things. Tech guy. You backed it up.
I copy everything to an external drive.
Yeah.
We pulled up some of his files, and he looked at them and said, "No, I've modified that file since then."
Well, I don't understand where you would have gotten these old files from.
That's what I don't get either.
Does he have Time Machine? Is he running Time Machine?
No, because 10.4 doesn't have Time Machine on it. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to update him to 10.6.
And you let the file copy complete, right? You didn't.
Oh yeah, it took 30 minutes.
Yeah, you watched the thing go across and it completed.
Exactly.
And it went bonk when it's dumb. And no, I mean I don't understand why they wouldn't be the actual. They're there.
And that's what I don't get either.
Ignore him.
Very crazy.
You're probably looking at creation dates, not modification dates. Ignore him. All this stuff.
Well, no, but like I said, we opened up the file. And he said, "Oh, I just made this file last week."
Where would that come?
There.
But where would this? Unless there was a backup on that disk before, was there?
Now on the external drive.
Yeah.
There was.
Ah, well, you're looking at the wrong one, maybe.
No, I thought. Well, I was using some other software.
I understand that you're a little because it's a Mac and you're a Windows guy, but it's just like Windows. You copied them over; they're going to be there.
Well, and what I did is I copied it into a completely separate.
Yeah, there's no magic.
Yeah, it doesn't create aliases or something.
No, there's no magic. Okay. It will have created a complete copy.
That's what I thought I had done. Yeah. So I should literally have two copies. The backup version and then what was a copy.
What you just made. Yeah, you should have that. I would look carefully and see if somewhere else it's on the disk.
Okay.
And yes, you can go back and forth either way you want. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. I think you're fine. You did the right thing. Little lesson learned. Always back up before you where you start messing around. George in Paris, Texas. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, George.
Hello, Leo. This is George in the world's second largest parish, home of the Eiffel Tower with a red cowboy hat on top.
I love it.
I heard you say the other day you liked regional accents, so I thought I'd bring you one.
Now, is this West Texas, East Texas?
East Texas.
It's an East Texas accent.
Yes.
All right. I like it.
I have a Roku that I have a Twit app on and just love it and love your show.
Thank you.
Think you do a great service.
Thank you.
Especially like your caller to the so-called Windows tech people. I know that Chromecast doesn't have many apps at this time, but I decided to try one so I could stream my websites from my Chrome browser onto the TV.
Yeah.
And I was going to do that from a Android tablet that's pretty cheap, but it gets me by, and it's running Jelly Bean. And I had a hard time, but because Google won't let me in their store with this cheap tablet.
So what you bought was a tablet that has Android, but is not a AOSP version of Android. That means it doesn't have the store, doesn't have the Google apps on it.
Yeah.
They do that because it's cheap.
Yeah, and I don't mind it, but it does all I want, and if I drop it, well, it's not a big loss. And anyway, I eventually got Chromecast installed on it by going to, I couldn't even get it from the Amazon store. I had to go to...
George, just hang on a second. We have to take a break, but hang on. We'll finish the saga of George's Chromecast right after this. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hey, before we get to Johnny Jett, our travel guy, let me just finish up with George. He's in Paris, Texas. That's travel.
Yes.
So, George, I think the problem is I don't think you can.
I add, Leo,
okay.
Is that I eventually, well, a lot of trouble, but eventually I got it where it will cast YouTube app from my Android tablet, but I can't get a extension for the Chrome.
No, it's only for the desktop. That's why. Can't do it on Android. So YouTube, Netflix, HBO Go, Hulu Plus, there are a number of apps now, Android apps, that will have the little Chromecast tab button on there.
Yeah.
But in order to do it in the browser, you have to have desktop Chrome with a special extension. It's early days yet, in other words. I'm surprised you get... How do you get Chrome running on that?
I had to go to one of those alternate app sites.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, dear.
But I finally got a Chromecast app, and I finally got YouTube app.
It's really Chromecast is wonderful, $35, but the cascade, the tidal wave of apps hasn't happened yet. Google will, in the next, I think, month or so, is going to break down the dam. I got to find a metaphor for this. They're going to let everybody do it, and once they do, you'll see every app will be supporting Chromecast. But right now, there's gatekeeping a little bit, and their tab casting is in beta still. They admit it's not perfect. So I think it's just really a factor of it. You got an Android tablet, you can't tab cast from an Android tablet. Even if you had a legitimate one like a Nexus 7, you can't.
Well, so, this one's legitimate. It's just cheap.
An AOSP version, let's say, a Google-approved version. It's a little bit limited, that's all.
So I just can't get the extension to my browser.
Because it's for desktops.
They've even got it for Linux, but...
yeah, it's for desktops. It's not for tablets. It's not for ARM. Sorry. It may be. There's no reason. There's really no reason it couldn't be, and it may be. Maybe it's a power issue. I don't know. But patience, because I think that they're adding a lot of capabilities in time. George, great to talk to you. Next time I'm in Paris, Gay Paris, well, I'll stop by and say hi. You know, I didn't know, Johnny Jett, that the folks in Paris talked like that. I love his French accent. Johnny Jett is with us. He's a travel connoisseur. Goes all over the world. Then comes back and reports he's back from his week in Hawaii where he's enjoying
2 weeks.
Oh, man. See, never spend 2 weeks in Hawaii. 1 week, you come back. Okay. 2 weeks, you really regret coming back.
Man, I should have stayed.
3 weeks, you never leave.
I tried to get bumped. Actually, we talked about this last week, and because of you, it motivated me to do a post on it. So I now have a post on my homepage on how to get bumped.
But it didn't work, Johnny. You didn't get bumped.
Actually, they were sold out, but they were only offering $300, and it wasn't worth it for $300.
Right. At least you had the choice.
Yeah, you have to wait to see if the plane fills up or not. Then you have to go get a hotel. Usually they'll give you a hotel, but I don't think they were giving a hotel yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah, because they read your post.
No. The problem is the airlines are getting smart now. So when you check in, and this happened with me on my United flight when I checked in the other day, it said, are you willing to give up your seat for $300? $300. We talked about it last week with Delta, where they say name your price.
Right.
But $300 is too low, man. You want to go higher.
Well, you have to be willing to actually fly on the day you said you were going to fly, I guess.
Right.
It's like any negotiation. You have to be willing.
I know we don't have a lot of time, but I was just looking. I just saw a really good deal from L.A., by the way, $338 round trip L.A. to Jamaica.
Oh, I'm going to Jamaica.
So I know you have a lot of L.A. readers, and I'm in L.A., so
Let's go to Jamaica, man. I want to go.
Yep. And then I have a good app for you.
Yeah.
It's called Help Call.
Help Call.
Help Call. It's $2.99. It's only available on iOS, but this is great for when you travel 126 countries.
It's like 911 for every country.
Exactly, because 911 is not universal.
Right.
I think we talked about this a year ago.
Right.
But it's not universal, and on this, it updates it automatically, and all you have to do is hit the button, either police, fire, or ambulance, or phone a local friend, which is cool, and it's in 5 different languages: English, French, German, Spanish, Polish, and supposedly more languages on its way.
So if you're in Poland, you don't speak Polish, but you press the button, it will play a Polish recording?
No, I don't know about that, actually.
Oh, okay. So it's for you to read it in Polish. Shake for emergency. If you can't see
that I like.
or touch the screen, shake it. Wow. It seems dangerous. Seems risky.
For sure. If you're on the street and all of a sudden it starts
Look at all the
shaking
countries. Yeah, really. Don't accidentally shake it. Now with the Vatican City. So if you see the Pope and you get faint, you can get a gondoliere or whatever, carabinieri or whatever it is to come rescue you.
Carabinieri.
Yeah. Because they carry carbines. Johnny Jet travels the world. He does it because he likes us. And he's willing to put himself on the line.
Yeah.
120,000 miles every year just to help us know what the best deals in travel are. And he can tell you all about it at his website, johnnyjet.com, or at johnnyjet on the Twitter. He's also on Instagram. He's been posting. I was so jealous. All the sand, beach, beautiful pictures. Enjoying yourself in Hawaii, man.
Well, I created a post actually for this year called the 14 best travel Instagrammers to follow in 2014.
Oh, I'll have to follow them.
I think you should check it out. It's somewhere on my homepage, or I'll tweet it out. But they have some really good people. I'm not one of them. So.
But we add Johnny too, because he is.
I'm new. I'm new to Instagram. I just started, a few months ago.
I just read an article on how to get more likes on Instagram, and it's silly stuff like, don't have a more background that gives you more likes. And I guess if you put a kitty cat in it will, you can always. I think you should just put a cat in every one of your pictures.
Well, the big thing is now I'm using the different hashtags. There's a program, spacing on the name, but all you do is download the program and you check mark which
that makes it a lot easier typing. I wondered how people do that, because it looks like they typed in 50 hashtags.
Exactly, that's what it is.
They're
it's 50 hashtags. That way you get noticed more. I haven't done it yet, but which is probably why I only have 1,500 followers on Instagram. But it's not the quantity, it's the quality, and I have good quality.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you.
You are the best. JohnnyJet.com, and he joins us every week to talk travel. Where are you going next?
That's a secret. I'm going to a big Australia black tie gala tonight, though.
Ooh, fun.
That should be fun.
Nothing like partying with a bunch of Australians.
Oh, my God.
This is in L.A., right? Not Australia.
It's in L.A.
Yeah.
I'm trying to plan a trip to Australia. The first baseball game, by the way, is in Australia this year.
First American baseball game is in Australia?
first Major League Baseball game, official game counts. It's on March 23rd and 24th. I think it's the Dodgers versus the Diamondbacks in Australia.
Wow.
First time the game has been played outside or in Australia. For
both the Major League Baseball and NFL do this. You know, the NFL plays in London, or they did this year anyway, hoping to get Australians, Brits, whoever interested in our national sports.
Hey, I'm surprised I land in these places and they're like, man, you're from California. I love, you know.
Yeah, of course they do.
One time they're like, I love the Chargers. This is in Australia. I'm like, really? You watch the Chargers?
Really? Well, how fun. Are you going to go to Australia for the first Major League Baseball game? I would go. That's a good excuse. Any excuse to go to Australia.
I'm planning on going. We'll see if it happens.
Hey, would you do some research for me? Because in years past, American Express had a deal for $10,000. You and a companion could go all the way around the world. Take your time. They don't do that anymore. But I heard from a friend that she's going to go all around the world on American Express. And if you could just let me know.
It doesn't cost $10,000.
It's cheap.
You can buy a round the world ticket for a lot cheaper.
Well, this is first class.
Oh. Well, with the American Express card, you should be able to
and then you get companion
ticket.
Yeah. Not that I'm thinking of doing this. I like to dream.
You should be able to do that, just not including hotels.
That's why we listen to Johnny Jett. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks, Johnny.
See you later. Thank you.
Oh, the Chargers had an Aussie kicker. That's how they know the Chargers. Chat room's telling me the Chargers had an Australian kicker.
No, but you know, the customs guys, man, they watch it. It's on. It's on in the middle of the night.
I got to tell you, as much as I love the NFL, and I do, Australian rules football is the greatest game ever played.
Those guys are out of their minds.
It's crazy fun to watch. I would hate to play it.
I've been to one of the games. These guys, I played lacrosse in college. So.
Oh, well, you know, my son plays lacrosse. Lacrosse is a great game.
I used to get beat up all the time, but at least I had a helmet on.
In lacrosse, they have sticks. They can hit you with a stick. It's so fun. Yeah. That's why Henry loves it. Whap, whap, whap.
I was the one getting hit because I played attack.
Oh, man.
Offense.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you have pads, you have helmets, and Aussie rules are basically wearing short shorts and tank tops.
Yeah, and these guys are monsters. They're like 6'6", 250.
They're
I would not want to be hit like
athletic.
those guys.
I know. It's just an amazing sport.
Yeah.
All right, John.
So, take care. Have a great week.
Great to talk to you.
You too. See you later.
See ya. Bye-bye. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo is the number if you want to talk about computers or the internet or smartphones or home theater or digital photography, anything with a chip in it. Our website, techguylabs.com, by the way. If you want to join us in the chat room, it's all there. Answers to the previous shows, questions, and things like that. Audio and video of every show, too. techguylabs.com. Elijah is in Murrieta, California. Hi, Elijah.
Hi.
Hey.
I was wondering if I should get an iPad mini, or Kindle Fire HDX, or Kindle Fire HD.
Tough decisions. Let's eliminate the HD and stick with the HDX versus the iPad mini with Retina display.
Okay.
All right. What do you do? What do you want to do with it?
Mainly listen to music, get good photos, and just play some games.
Do you use iTunes for your music?
Yes.
Okay. No, you know there's no iTunes on the Kindle.
Yeah.
Kindle's basically Android with its own operating system, or actually own user interface on top of the operating system. So I actually think the Kindle Fire HDX has the best of the two screens. I like to watch video like TV shows and stuff on the Kindle Fire. I really love that. On the other hand, if you live in the Apple world, well, I asked you one question. You do use Apple Music. Now, because Apple no longer puts copy protection on the music, there's no reason you can't listen to it on your Fire, but what you're going to want to do is upload it to your Amazon account and like that. Right?
Okay.
Because it doesn't have a lot of storage. And you can't I wouldn't treat it like an iPod. I would you stream the music as opposed to putting it on the device.
Oh. Okay.
Do you buy a lot of stuff at Amazon?
Yes.
Okay. Pretty much, I would say, here's the deal. The Kindle Fire HDX is cheap. And I mean that in a good way. It's not expensive. Very nice hardware. Arguably better hardware, at least screen-wise, than the iPad. However, there's nothing you can do on the Kindle Fire that you cannot do on the iPad, and there's lots that you can do on the iPad that you can't do on the Kindle Fire. So if you can handle the difference in price, which is, what, $100, $150, I would get the iPad. because you can read the Kindle stuff, you can do the Amazon video, you can do Amazon Music, and you get all your Apple stuff too.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's really, but now if price is an issue, if you don't have, you're doing this on your paper route, and every $10 means another week of shelling out papers, then maybe you want to get a Kindle Fire HDX. I think the HDX is a very nice device, but the iPad can do more.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Steve in Nashville, Tennessee's next. He wants to know about security with Windows 8.1. We can definitely talk about that. Before we do, though, I want to talk about your next website. My friends, I got to tell you about Squarespace. Squarespace is the greatest place in the world for creating a website. Whether you want a blog, whether you're a photographer and you want to show the world your wonderful images, whether you're creating a site to sell your candles or your handmade puppets, whatever it is, Squarespace is the place. It is simply the best place for hosting. Squarespace sites never go down. And for content management, really easy to post. I want you to start your 14-day free trial at squarespace.com. Try it out. No credit card needed. You get to see all the beautiful templates. You get to actually import all your content if you've got an existing site and see what it looks like, including the comments, the pictures, all the links still work. They have great 24/7 award-winning customer service. So you get help at any time from their team. They're in New York, so they're up at the same time you are. I'm just a big fan. Best of all, Squarespace starts at just $8 a month. $8! That's including the website, the hosting, the customer service, and the free domain name, all when you sign up for a year. Start a free trial today without any credit card. Check it out. I do ask, if you decide to buy, use my name, Leo. We'll both benefit. You'll get 10% off and a great new site. And I'll just get the glow of knowing I've converted yet another person to the best darn web hosting in the world. Squarespace. Squarespace.com. Don't forget to use my name, Leo, when you buy. Squarespace.com. Steve, did you just go to 8.1 or are you thinking about it?
No, I went to it. I got, for Christmas, a Dell Venue tablet.
Oh, you got that? Did you get the 8-inch one?
Yep.
How do you like it?
I like it.
Isn't it sweet?
So fast. It is sweet.
Yeah.
I can't believe, because it uses the Atom, quad-core processor.
Yeah.
And it's amazingly fast. Now, I'm blind, and I use JAWS. And
you can use JAWS on that tablet?
Yeah, they just came out with version 15 that supports some touch gestures, not as extensive as the iPad, with the accessibility, but it does work.
Would you say that, because I always wondered if a tablet is better or worse for a blind user?
Worse, really.
It is, okay.
As opposed to a standard PC.
Yeah, with a mouse and a keyboard, yeah.
Yeah, it's worse.
It's harder to use.
Just get a laptop with a keyboard and stuff like that.
Look how portable this is. It's 8 inches. You could slip it in your pocket.
The speed, I can't get over that, and battery life is insane.
What are you getting?
Days.
That's amazing. This is I got to tell you, if you're looking for an inexpensive PC, maybe you should be looking at this, because these are among the least expensive PCs, and yet you get a lot for a lot of bang for your buck.
$300. I got the 64 gig version. Came off Amazon. It was $311.
Wow.
And for that, it blows away anything you can, get comparably that price as far as a Windows computer. Now, my question was, under 8.1, a 7, you could put security essentials on, all that. Does 8.1 have something built in like that?
Yes, it's all built in. You don't have to download anything. Security is they call it Defender now, but it's the same stuff.
Okay.
It's all right, it's
I was wondering.
Microsoft understood that it had a big problem with security starting with XP. They doubled down and they doubled down again, and I think by now 8.1 is rock solid. In fact, I know it is, because all the new attacks are getting around Windows security, because the Windows itself is not the problem. Like our earlier caller who got hacked by somebody calling her, or they take advantage of flaws in Adobe Flash or Acrobat Reader or Java. They're not attacking Windows as much anymore. It's solid.
Yeah, they're going after the software. But for anyone that's looking for a tablet or a computer, something like that, I mean, you can't, for the price, you can't beat it. I have an iPad mini, and I like it, but I'll always be in the Windows world, and to have a tablet and be able to run standard PC software and run it well, I might add.
That's pretty impressive.
Way to go.
You're not alone. My friend Paul Thurrott, who hosts our Windows Weekly show, is a Windows expert at the super site for Windows. He loves his Venue 8.
I know. I was listening that day a couple of weeks ago when he said he switched over to Venue exclusively, and I was like, wow, that's cool. And I read his original article, his original review on it. He was kind of lukewarm, but he had come around after playing with it a while.
Well, especially for the price. Now, can you get a keyboard for it, or is it really it's just a tablet?
No, you can get a keyboard. They make a case that has the keyboard, kind of like the Surface does. That has get the locking. You can get a case with a locking keyboard, or use a Bluetooth one.
And by the way, this is full Windows. This is not Windows RT, the ARM-based. It's running an Intel chip.
Windows.
It's a Windows 8. Yeah.
Yep, Windows 8.1 running, and it's the Atom quad-core processor.
I appreciate the recommendation. That's really it's nice to hear. You found something you like. Yeah.
And well, good. I'm glad about the security. That was my only concern as far as if I needed to download anything to,
I'm a fan of ESET's antivirus, but frankly, on a tablet, you don't have a lot of room. I think you know what you're doing. That's the main thing. I mean, and this is why they're trying. This is why they're calling people like Susan at home, because people run antiviruses and run all this stuff. So the hackers say, well, we'll be more clever than that. We'll get around it. And so ultimately, it's your behavior that is the absolute bottom line key. If you let them in, there's no antivirus that can protect you.
No, absolutely not.
Yep.
Anyway, well, I appreciate the help, and I'm enjoying Twit as usual. I sent you the email the other day about the Google Voice thing.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
So I'll keep listening, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I appreciate it. Take care.
All right.
Always nice to hear from our fans all over the world, including Nashville, Tennessee. 8888 Ask Leo. That opens up a line. We are going to take a break for news at the top of the hour. I will come back another hour to come of the Tech Guy program. If you hear something on the show you want to know more, like you want to link to the Dell Venue Pro, you can find that on our website, techguylabs.com. No, Dell is not an advertiser. I'm just like helping people buy the right one, and that seems like for him anyway, it was the absolute right one. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, techguylabs.com, the website. We'll see you in a bit, right after news at the top of the hour. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk about computers, the internet, home theater, smartphones, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo's the number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Otherwise, use Skype. You can call me that way, too. Won't cost you a thing. We were talking during the break. I was talking with the chat room about the new Mac Pro, the crazy expensive Mac, the one that looks like a...
garbage can.
Well, don't say garbage can because that's, that's hurtful. That's hurtful talk.
I'm sorry.
That's a $3,000 garbage can. I'm feeling better about it already.
It's Darth something.
Yeah, it's kind of like Darth Vader's helmet because there's a locking. You slide the lock over and you can remove the extruded aluminum outside. You just slide it off like his helmet. It's a little prettier inside than Darth Vader was, but it's an example of what you can do if there are no constraints. If you just say, we don't care how much it's going to cost, how hard it is to make, or anything. We're just going to make what we think is the best hardware. It's all solid state. There's no moving parts. SSD drives, fastest drives I've ever seen in my life. Dual video cards, very fast. I was playing BioShock Infinite on it last night. Didn't even break a sweat. Didn't even get hot. And what I really like about it is the design. The cylindrical design allows you to have one big fan, the size of the cylinder, pulling air, drawing air from the bottom up through the core of it. So all the hot stuff is surrounding a hollow core where air is rushing through and up out the top. And it's a chimney. And boy, you don't even feel the heat coming off of that thing when you're working it hard. It's really impressive. Crazy. Somebody's saying, I'm trying to find a size example, and I think you got it right. Frankie the Waffle in our chat room says it's about the size of that giant-sized Clorox wipes dispenser. That's exactly right. You know, the big one, not the little one, the big one. That's exactly right. And there's no reason anybody in the world should get this unless you're a video editor and you're editing this new ultra-high def video, so you have huge amounts of data. You need huge amounts of throughput. And it starts at $3,000, which is fine, but you really, that's only a 256 gig hard drive inside, so you really are going to need to buy extremely expensive, extremely fast external storage. You're talking, and then not to mention 4K monitors, and it's not for humans. Yeah, it's pretty much the same size as that. In fact, it's exactly the same size as a Lysol container, wipes container, or Clorox container. It's Museum of Modern Art beautiful. And I got it because I did it for you. You think, oh, Leo, you just spend so much money. No, I had to do it. I did it for you. I did, so that I could review it for you and talk. I know it's hard. It's a tough job. It's hard sometimes, but I feel that I must do that for you, the people. Just as Loquacious in the chat room said, just as cute as a little pea pod. It is. And no one in their right mind should buy it. Unless, you've got a job that requires that, where time is money. And that's if you're a video editor, you're working on movies, you're working on high-quality video content, 4K content, then that makes sense. And my review is, yes, it lives up to everything you thought and more. Let's move on. Anthony is on the line from Houston, Texas. Hi, Anthony. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, I have a question for you. How are you, first of all?
First of all, I'm great. I've got over that lengthy winter cold that the world seems to have had, and I feel really good.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a question. Okay, talking about laptops, I'm getting ready to buy one. Basically, I've bought Alienware most of my life. I've had a MacBook. I was very impressed with Mac Pro Retina.
Gorgeous.
As you get older, it's more difficult to see.
Yeah.
And I guess my question is, I see now that PC makers like Dell, Toshiba, they're all going into, actually they surpassed the Retina display numbers.
Yes. And
I'm just wondering, is 1080 going to fade out?
Yeah, well, because yes, and who cares? It's just like megahertz, right? The more you throw at people, the more likely they are to buy it. Oh, that's higher resolution. Let's buy that. But there gets to be a point beyond which there's no point, because if you don't see the dots, more resolution doesn't help you. So
what does that mean in gaming, though?
Well, and this is what it means not only in gaming, but computing in general. It slows everything down, because the more dots you have to move on the screen, yes, it looks better, but it also means you need more horsepower, right? So that's why we talk about computers like the Mac Pro. These things are beasts because they're designed to edit 4K video. That's, not 1080p, but what is that, 2060p or 2160.
Right.
And so that you're doubling the resolution horizontally, doubling it vertically. So that means you're multiplying times 4 the number of dots you have to move. It's 4 times more work, and it's 60 times a second. So that's the difference. And, of course, a game, and most of the time you'll see this when you're gaming, if you set it to the maximum resolution possible, it can really bog down. All games have settings in the video settings where you can say lower the resolution, or don't do as much anti-aliasing, or don't have smaller textures. You can change these settings so that the game plays at a decent frame rate. But having a super high-res screen means you could go higher, as long as you had the processors and the GPU, the graphics processor, to support it.
So you pretty much think 1080 will be around for a long time?
Yeah, I think it's a good size, because from the perspective of the user, going higher isn't going to give you more. It might give you a little bit more, but you're not going to. There's a diminishing returns. You get to the point where the screen is such high resolution that you can't tell the difference. And at that point, why put more pixels on the screen? Why move more pixels? Why have to have more horsepower if you can't tell the difference? I think 1080 might be a little bit on the low side. But what I really look at is dots per inch or pixels per inch. Any resolution that's higher than, say, 300 pixels per inch on a laptop is wasted. You can't see the dots. And so so you look at the pixels per inch, because remember 1080 on a 55-inch is different from 1080 on a 15-inch. Right? Same number of dots, but it's on a much larger screen. You can see the dots if you get close. So it's really more about pixels per inch. Our smartphones are doing 300 and now even 400. There's the HTC One is over 400 pixels per inch. That doesn't get better past that point. So any more pixels they throw at the screen, it's not going to help.
Right.
Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah. It's just
you're a gamer. I'll put it in another term. Sometimes gamers say, "Hey, I get a refresh rate of 240 frames per second." Is that better than 120 frames per second? No. 60 is better than 30. You can see the difference. But after a point, and I don't know what that point is, 60, 100 frames per second, probably 100 frames per second. You can have more frames per second, but it doesn't look any smoother.
Okay. And in your opinion, what would you say is a good gaming laptop that can also run a CAD program?
Any gaming laptop should be good at a CAD program, right? The one difference is, and it's really a game the graphics manufacturers play, the CAD programs tend to use the professional graphics cards, which are hardware-wise identical to the gaming cards. They flip a bit that says, oh, now this is the professional version of the same thing. In other words, the cards designed for gaming are just as powerful, if not even more powerful than the Pro cards. But they may not have all the features of the Pro cards because they haven't flipped a bit. I would say the Alienware is good. You're paying a premium for the name and the design, but the hardware is very good. Everybody's raving about the ThinkPad Carbon, and I think that's a gorgeous, gorgeous device. You don't really need touch for gaming, so you could save some money there. I think Dell, all the usual suspects, make great stuff. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, CAD uses $3,000 cards, but it's the same card. That's the kind of irony of it. It's the same hardware in a different package, and they flip some switches. Yeah, so I gamed. I downloaded BioShock Infinite, and I had played that extensively on my old Mac Pro with Windows 7, and I couldn't, I turned everything all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. Looks great. I'm going to need something a little more demanding. I didn't put Windows on it because I didn't have room, but I do now, so I'll try it with Windows. Because Windows really, you can't really get challenging games on Macs, unfortunately. Michelle's in Corona, California. She's our next caller. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Leo. Okay, real quick, my internet started acting up. It's running slow, so I have Windows Ultimate. I did the troubleshooters, and I went to Action Center, and it kept bringing up the event viewer and saying it wouldn't list it because there's too many things. So now I'm all freaked out because I'm looking at it, and it's saying that it's detected registry.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Remember, I don't know if you heard our call last hour from Susan, who said, so that's the thing that the bad guys say, well, launch your event viewer, and you look at it, and they say, you'll see all the red things, all the errors. That means you've been hacked. It doesn't. That's normal. So clear out the event viewer if you want to start from fresh. It's just a log of things, of events, of things that happen. It's completely normal for there to be registry errors in there, all kinds of errors. That's normal.
Registry leaks, too?
Registry leaks?
Yes.
I don't know what a registry leak is.
Because underneath it says detail. 4 user registry handle leaked from registry user, and it has some long thing.
This is why normal people should not read the event viewer. It's not germane to anything. What is a registry leak? Can I fix it? By the way, there's a brisk business in companies that make software you don't need to fix these problems. It is not a big deal. I would ignore it.
I'm not looking to fix it, though. The thing is it keeps coming up as Windows is diagnosing it as a problem.
Wow. Well, it actually launches the event viewer and says, look at this?
Well, it'll start, and then it says, sorry, like the list is too long, and then it opens it up.
No, but who's launching the event viewer, you or Windows?
The troubleshooter says, do you want to do this?
Yeah, just ignore that.
Okay.
The troubleshooter, okay. So your initial problem was the internet's slow. Is it slow just on that machine?
Yes.
Okay.
And I just reinstalled Windows.
Right. Okay, and you wiped the drive and started over, and it's still slow.
Yeah, and I can't get certain drivers, and the updates were failing, and just, stupid stuff started happening that was being, that's suspicious.
So well, it's not suspicious. When you wiped the drive, did you really, you really erased it and started from scratch?
Yeah, because I don't want anything on there.
Yeah, right, good. So you know what? There's no malware on there. My suspicion is the drive itself is getting flaky.
Okay, because I can't find one drive, the PCI COM or...
Yeah, it could be. So when you reinstalled from the Windows install disks or the recovery disks that came with the computer?
Windows 7, it just came with the install disk.
Yeah, good. A Windows 7 install disk. And you ran all... So if you did a clean install, which you did, you wiped the drive, you started fresh from Windows 7, and you're still getting those kinds of errors, the hard drive itself is getting flaky. So a couple of options. You can replace it. They're not expensive. Or, you can try to kind of refresh it by really doing a thorough format and install. And I would try that first. So when you wipe it with the Windows installer, there's a quick version, which is quick and nice. There's one that takes a lot longer. Do that one. Thorough format. What that's going to do is it's going to rewrite everything. And if you continue to have problems, then I would just replace the drive. It's very common. The most common failure of computers is a hard drive. Those moving parts they wear, and the hard drive errors can kill you. They can be in the registry, causing all sorts of issues. It could easily be, and it can slow your computer down a lot, because what happens is Windows tries to read those sectors that it needs, and if it doesn't get it right away, it tries again, tries again, tries again. You do that a few times, pretty soon you're waiting for Windows a lot.
And if Windows can't find a drive that it needs,
that's a symptom. Maybe it's the controller card that's gone bad, or maybe how many drives are in the machine?
As far as I know, just one.
Yeah. So if you're having trouble, I don't know what it's trying to find. There's only one drive. You can see the one drive, right?
I do see it says failed survey of Windows management infrastructure supported devices.
Yeah, I think you've got bad drive.
Would that make it tell me that I don't have an antivirus when I do? Because I have not running and it's saying it can't detect it.
Yeah, don't install Norton ever again. That would be my first advice.
I did that like 20 years ago.
Get rid of that. I think it sounds like you've had this. These are all errors that can be caused simply by a bad drive. Okay? So it can't find the driver. It can't figure out what's going on. It's because it's trying to read those parts of the drive, and it goes, it's nothing there, or it's hard to read, or I give up. That's what it's telling you.
And it tells me about vPro technology. It can't. That pops up as an error all the time. Intel vPro technology.
Yeah, that's probably another driver that you're not getting.
Great.
So, vPro is hardware-based security and it can't find it. So there's something messed up.
Yeah, I went to Windows.
Something messed up on your computer. That's my This is my professional opinion. I would say, since you have this is the Windows 7 disk that it came with, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it a laptop or a desktop?
The desktop.
Easy.
It was ground up.
Yeah, easy and cheap to replace that drive. $50. But first thing I would do is a thorough format. Just do a thorough format and see if that fixes it. It could just simply be the drive is a little tired. And what we want to do is refresh it by, see, the quick format doesn't do anything. It just erases the hardware table of contents, or software table of contents, the file allocation table. There's two of them. It erases them, writes new ones. That's all it does. Doesn't touch the rest of the drive. A thorough format goes through and rewrites all the sectors. And in my opinion, that'll fix it. That'll fix it. And if it doesn't, then your hard drive's failing. Hard drive failures cause these are all the kinds of problems that can happen. It looks like malware. It's not. It's not because you did the right thing. You wiped your drive and started over. And it's still happening. Bad drive. I'm sorry, Michelle. Sounds like you built it or somebody built it for you. So you know what to do. You know how to fix it. Easy to do. Hard drives, there have been a number of studies now of hard drives in use. Google did one a couple of years ago. They have more hard drives than anybody, right? They said the hard drives either fail in the first few months or they don't fail for 2 years, and then they start failing at the rate of about 5% a year every year. 3-year-old hard drives, 5% fail, 1 in 20. Then of what's left, of the 19 left, 1 in 20 fail the next year. Of the 18 or whatever that's left, and on and on and on. So you can see the failure rate goes up very quickly. That's all. These things happen. Fortunately, hard drives are cheap. Todd in Fredonia. Hail, hail, Fredonia. Wait a minute, Todd.
Hey, Leo.
I hear the magic music. Can you hang on for a minute? We'll get to you in a second. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Ba 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 ba. Apple hard drives fail too. In fact, I scared myself today because I moved my user partition to an external drive, and it says, "Okay, now just reboot and everything will be fine." Then it wouldn't reboot. It said, "Can't." So I thought, "Oh, I have to reinstall OS 10. Oh well." Fortunately, you just hold down Command R, reboot the machine, hold down Command R to get into recovery, and it'll reinstall. Failed. And I thought, I broke my Mac Pro. So I went and sat on my warm toilet seat, and then I felt better, and I went back and I fixed it. Extreme. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. And we had picked up Todd in Fredonia. Let me go right back to him. Thanks for your patience, Todd. Welcome.
No problem. I'm having some buyer's remorse, I think. I went ahead and I upgraded my Mac at home to Maverick and updated iOS 7, and now I have a lot of devices that don't work.
Yeah,
after listening to the...
Okay, look, let's say this right up front. Software is imperfect, hardware is imperfect. Every computer system has problems. But there's something about Apple, we just expect more from them, don't we?
Yeah.
And they've in the past, you've just been, look, there've always been bugs and stuff, but we put them up on a pedestal. We expect more from them. And unfortunately, both Mavericks and iOS 7 have some nasty, problematic bugs. Most of them I don't think are deal breakers, but and they don't affect everybody equally, but even some of the Apple faithful have started to say, this isn't good.
Yeah, I usually I just jump right in and
I always upgrade.
Upgrade, but I think it's on older hardware. I think that's what sort of
could be
the most.
Could be. Now iOS 7, the 7.1 is in beta, and I'm hearing good reports that it fixes many of the issues with iOS 7. So one of the tell me what issues you're having.
Well, with Mavericks, it's when you start up the computer, it goes to a gray screen, but not a normal gray screen. It's got like a pattern to it, but you can still see the mouse pointer, which is really weird. And I finally did get it booted up the other day, and I'd open up Safari, and it was flashing. Now, the best was I was looking on the internet. I was trying to find I clicked on a video, and I hadn't been getting any sound out of it. And all of a sudden, I heard the sound from my video coming from the living room.
Yeah. Core audio, the audio stuff in Mavericks is known to have problems. For instance, a very common problem people have is YouTube makes no noise. It just stops working. And then YouTube kills the audio from the whole thing. So I have not experienced that, but I have heard of it. This is the problem, is it's not consistent. If it were, I think their testing would have caught it. If every machine, the sound stopped working, well, you'd know and you'd fix it. But these intermittent problems are a nightmare. I'm pretty sure Apple knows about all of these. Enough complaints have been lodged that I would just say keep doing the updates. You could go backwards. You say you have buyer's remorse. You could go backwards. You might also try reinstalling it. It sounds like you have a particularly bad install. You said it's an older hardware. How old?
It's a 2009 iMac. And I was listening to the last call, and I was really thinking I'm starting to wonder if my hard drive's going too. So
it could be. And these things happen to Macs too. Yeah.
But so if I go to reinstall, I mean, I've got a Time Machine backup. Do I just? I don't even know where to start.
Well, you could do a few levels. There's a variety of different ways to install OS 10. You can do a clean install. It's actually, you have to work at it. The default is install on top of it. I would do the default first, just install on top of it, see if it fixes it. If it does not, then there's the next step, which is to move the old system into a folder, previous system folder, and reinstall. That's nice because it doesn't wipe anything. It just moves the files into a separate folder. And then the final one would be to wipe the hard drive and do it all over again.
Okay. All right.
Somebody in the chat room is telling me that many 09 Macs had defective hard drives, so it could be a hard drive issue. I haven't heard of that, but
yeah, I was hoping to get one more year out of this thing, but
yeah, no, 09's not that old. Shouldn't be a problem as long as you're Intel. Shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, but you could replace the hard drive. In fact, is it a laptop or desktop?
It's an iMac.
Oh yeah, you said that. Yeah, replacing the hard drive is not a fun thing on an iMac. I had a 2009 iMac.
Yeah.
Works fine. I would say, try reinstalling. It could just be a bad install.
Okay. Then with iOS 7, I've kind of given up on it. I went round and round with Apple, and the Wi-Fi, I have to be next to the router to get.
This is a known problem. Known problem. And it might be a hardware problem.
Well, that's what their engineers told me.
Well, then you want a new phone. Bring in the phone.
It's out of warranty,
and they won't replace it.
It's an iPad 2.
Do you have an Apple store nearby? Just go over to the Apple store.
Oh, I have several times,
and they still don't, because the Genius there has a lot of leeway. They don't have to. They can they can say, hey, it's out of warranty, but they can also say, you know what, it's out of warranty, but you deserve better, and we're going to fix it. Bring them a box of chocolates.
I even went so far. I've had 3 different Geniuses, and not one has offered it yet.
I think you're out of luck.
I actually did get some movement. I actually wrote Tim Cook a letter, not asking for any help, but just asking them to fix this problem, because obviously it's a known problem. And
right.
I'd say within 2 days I had somebody from Apple.
Yeah, they're good about that. Yeah, the office of the president. Yeah, they'll call you.
And they worked with me about a month, just doing different tests.
Still no fix.
Still no fix. They ended up taking it to the engineers, and the engineers said it's hardware. So they said something in iOS 7 woke it up.
So you have woke it up. It was working until I put your stupid operating system. It woke up the problem. Good morning, problem.
Sometimes, yeah. That's what they told me.
It's an iPhone 4?
No, it's an iPad 2.
Oh, it's an iPad 2.
Yeah.
Hey, they still sell those.
I know. That's what I thought. It should still work with iOS 7.
Yeah, man.
I got my fingers crossed 7.1's going to fix it, but
well, then that's any day now. So yeah, cross your fingers is right. Yeah, I think they know about these problems. In fact, the iPad 2 had terrible Wi-Fi. Early iPads were the worst with Wi-Fi. Try different channels. Are you using an Apple router?
No. The thing is, it happens in more than one place. It happens at home. At a place that I freelance, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
At home, it's not a big deal. At work, I'm close enough to Wi-Fi. It doesn't matter. Just that place I freelance, it's very frustrating.
Yeah.
Because I gave up my laptop for this iPad, and for the most part, with the exception of now, it's been a great. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the fix is on that, other than hope for a 7.1 fix, or buy a new iPad. It is for work. They're not that expensive. I'm sure that's what Apple would like you to do. Come on, don't be such a cheapskate, Todd. Just give us a little more money. We'll fix it. I'm sorry, Todd. You're not alone. A lot of pain right now. People feeling a lot of pain with these operating systems. Operating system upgrades cause problems always. Seems as if this is worse than usual. Ben in Los Angeles, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Ben.
Hey, Leo.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. What can I do for you?
Well, I got 3 questions for you, Leo. First one, just an easy one. Can you recommend any Android phone?
Well, I use the Moto X. I love it. It's fairly inexpensive. Number of carriers are offering it for under $200. And I love it. I mean, out of contract. And I think it's free in contract or cheap in contract. Yeah. Love the Moto X, and it's on all the carriers. Okay, next question.
Next question is, what do you think about this new price plan or new announcement that T-Mobile has, saying it that giving us a jail out of free card.
Get out of jail free, and you know who responded? AT&T. We'll get you out. It's good for consumers. You want these companies to fight. It's great. We have 4 major cell phone companies right now. We're about to only have 3, I think. But competition is good. I love T-Mobile. Very happy with them. But you've got to check to make sure it works where you are. Their coverage is not as good.
Yeah. Actually, I'm kind of cheapskate when it comes to the phone plan.
Choose the company that works best where you are. In the long run, that's the best deal. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Mad Magazine's operatic-trained maddest writer, Dick D. Bartolo. He's here as he is every week to share his insights with us and so much more. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how are you, pal?
Back from Vegas, huh?
Back from Vegas. You came back ill, right? You went out for one day.
No, okay. So the normal process is everybody goes to Las Vegas for the big Consumer Electronics Show. They spend a few days. They come back. They get sick. I usually do that. This time I went sick and I realized, I'm patient 0. I'm bringing the disease to Vegas. So I came home feeling great, and everybody else got sick.
Left them in your way. And I kept saying, I'm so sorry I didn't run across Leo. Now I'm thrilled I didn't run across him.
I wore a Bane mask the whole time. I'm sick. So what did you see? Anything good?
You know what? A lot more of the same. We always talk about 1 million phone cases. Coming out in May, something a little different from Mopey. They're going to have an iPhone 5 case with a built-in battery, but either 16 or 32 gigabytes of memory also built in.
They call it the space case, which is a great name, I think.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And the thing that I thought was kind of neat, and Steve Gibson will either poo-poo it or say, oh, that's great. A way to sign in, a system called Myris. Myris as in my iris. And this is a little hockey puck-sized USB device. When you first get it, you hold it up to your face. It does a video of both your irises, checks 240 points on your irises, turns them into a 2048-bit digital signature, and they say that it is the next best thing to DNA, that the chances of someone hacking it are 1 in 2 trillion.
Wow.
So, I know. Well, I couldn't fool it. I said to the guy, oh, give me that. Let me just see. I said, oh, I got it blue. What does blue mean? He says, it means you're living. When you get it to green, you're in the system. So it's going to be about $300 coming in early spring. So that, to me, if you really need total security, seemed like a good idea. And up to 5 people can enroll their irises. And it's not a snapshot. It's video, so that it's much harder for someone to fool it.
Yeah.
And it's Myris, and the company is iLock.com.
It's a good idea. I mean, we've seen iris scanners before, but never that inexpensive.
Exactly. And I don't think I've ever heard of one that did both eyes as a video. So,
yeah.
That was, and then, a lot of just ridiculous, the Bluetooth toothbrush. I had one from last year, and, you're not in range of your phone, your cell. Give me. I lasted 3 days before I thought, I can't take this anymore.
There's a lot of gimcrackery at CES.
Yes.
I likened it at the beginning of the show to a Hostess cupcake. It looks good on the outside. It promises much, but then you eat it and you go, why?
Yeah.
And nothing stays with you. Like, a week later, it's not like you go, wow, my world, not this year anyway, my world has been, I guess every once in a while, something incredible comes down the pike. But for the most part, I think nowadays especially, people don't announce really big announcements.
No, they don't. And, last year the big talk was the first curved TV, which I don't see the need for it. This year, every single person has a curved
It's
TV.
a dumb idea.
And-
I have a curved TV at home. It's not
Do you?
yes, but it's not. I wish it weren't. You can't hang it on the wall. It doesn't make anything better.
No. Well, then you get LGs because it bends with the remote control.
Good.
So you can flatten it or bend it at your will.
Okay,
Or
they've
you can
just
do
run.
that-
They've just run out of things. That's all.
Yes, I think so.
The engineers go. I got nothing. Maybe we could make the TV
I know.
bend.
I went by one booth with a friend of mine, and my friend said, these are the exact same things you had on this counter last year. And the guy said, well, last year we hadn't made them. We were just seeing if people liked them. This year, it's the same things, but now we sell them.
Now we make them.
It took us a year.
A motorized curved TV. What will they think of next?
Honey, stop the TV. It's squeezing me. Honey.
So really, I mean, in 4 days, you saw nothing.
Leo, everything like you said, a billion different keyboards. There's an iPhone. There's an iPhone case that moves the sensitivity of the screen also to the back of the phone. So while you're holding it, you can be moving the cursor and
Did
typing.
you get to play with Ryan Seacrest's keyboard that he slides onto the iPhone? Did you get to play with that?
No, I didn't, but because there was a line. But it makes your phone look like it takes an iPhone 5 and makes it into a BlackBerry.
Which, by the way, is why BlackBerry's suing him.
Yes, exactly. Maybe they'll call me as a witness.
Yeah,
because I said, "Hey, is that a BlackBerry?"
I heard it on the radio. It must be true. Give me money.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Lenovo, everything was 4K last year. I thought it was kind of impressive.
All those
Lenovo
TVs,
has a 28 4K monitor.
This I thought $800. This I thought yes, I want that. Did it look good?
It looked great, and then they have a really same size, a deluxe version with 10-point touch. The $799 is a regular monitor. The 10-point touch screen with a chrome bezel and beautiful speakers, $1199. So way down in price from when they first came on the scene, and with tens of thousands of dollars.
I would, I have this new Mac Pro, and it can handle a 4K monitor. I think this Lenovo might be a good choice. Can't believe it's good for $800 though. Wow.
No, it did look good. It did look good.
That's it.
And then Eye to Eye is kind of good.
4 days in Vegas, and this is it. This is the best.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we have a lot of videos at twit.tv/specials of Dick wandering around playing.
And Padre.
What was the stupidest thing you saw? I know it's hard to pick, but
hands down, the toothbrush was the
Bluetooth toothbrush.
The Bluetooth toothbrush. Two companies.
First of all,
not bad.
Toothbrush and blue teeth, bad combination. Bad combination.
Right. Also, there were two companies making Bluetooth light bulbs that also had built-in speakers, which I thought was a step up, so that you could have music in like the bathroom or something where it was merely all you had to do is screw the bulb in, and not only did you control the light from your iPod or Android, you could send music to the light bulb also.
At Wits End's got it right. He says it's like a giant Fry's Electronics.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like a 2 million square foot Fry's Electronics. Well, Dick, I'm glad you came back well. Stick around. We'll do the Giz Fizz after this, after the radio show on the Twit Network. And I'm just glad you survived.
Thank you,
all
sir.
The excitement of CES. I'm sorry, International CES
2014.
Did they ever release how many people were there? Yeah.
They were saying 150,000. There were
Is that more or less?
problems. You know what, Leo? I think they were saying that they're holding it at 150,000 because
it's not growing because we're keeping it.
We're holding it.
We want to keep it. That's as much as.
But a lot of people didn't show up because of the terrible foul up with the weather and the airlines.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you made it home.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dickie D. If you want to find out more, of course, go to Dick's website, gizwiz.biz. That's a chance to also play the What the Heck Is It contest. Win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine from Mad's Maddest Writer himself. Let me just scroll down here and just see what it is this month. What the heck is that? a purple arm thing. I don't know what it is. You're playing for the April issue of Mad Magazine. 12 autographed Mads for the right answer, 24 for the best wrong answer. So be wrong, you have more chance to win. GizWiz.biz. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great geek week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. I'm Leo Laporte. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, the Tech Guy is just the tip of the iceberg. We do nearly 30 shows now on the Twit Netcast Network, and you'll find them all at twit.tv. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPad on iPad Today. You get your daily dose of tech news from Tech News Today, and our weekly roundtable show, This Week in Tech. It's all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next time with another great Tech Guy podcast. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.